Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a huge paradox right at the heart of the AI revolution. And it's one of those questions that, once you really think about it, is kind of impossible to ignore.
So here's the mystery, right? Our whole economy is built on a really simple loop. People work, they earn money, and they use that money to buy stuff. But what happens when AI starts doing more and more of the jobs? Who's actually left to buy all the things the AI is busy making?
And that leads to the part that's, well, it's just baffling. It seems completely self-defeating. If the biggest, smartest tech companies in the world can see this potential economic cliff up ahead, why does it feel like they're all flooring the accelerator, racing right towards it?
Okay, so to figure this all out, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with the paradox itself. Then we'll look at why companies feel like they have to race ahead. We'll get into the real, immediate impact this has on all of us, explore the 4 ways this could all end, and then we'll uncover the big bet the tech giants are making. And finally, we'll see how this whole thing is tearing up a fundamental social contract.
All right, first up, the AI paradox. To really get the problem, we need to look at the simple economic engine that's been running things for centuries, and then see exactly how AI just, throws a giant wrench in the works.
For the longest time, it's been this beautiful, perfect circle. You work, you get paid, you use that money to buy things, which means companies make a profit. And what do they do with that profit? They hire more people to make more things. It's simple, it's elegant, and it's worked.
But see, AI doesn't just nudge this loop or tweak it, it completely shatters it. It separates the act of producing things from the need for human labor. And that just breaks the entire chain connecting work to wages to buying stuff.
And this is the core contradiction right here. On the one hand, AI is incredible for business. You can make more stuff, way cheaper, with a lot fewer workers. So profits, they go way up. But on the other hand, you're shrinking the very pool of people who have wages to spend. You end up with way more supply, but you're systematically destroying demand.
So you have to ask, if this is so obviously a bad idea for the system as a whole, why doesn't everybody just, tap the brakes? Well, the answer comes from game theory. It's a classic setup called the prisoner's dilemma, and it's basically a situation where everyone makes what seems like the most rational choice for themselves, but because they can't trust each other, they end up creating a result that's actually worse for everybody.
The logic here is just brutal. Think about it. If Company A goes all in on AI and its competitor, Company B, doesn't, well, Company A is going to crush them. So what does Company B do? It has to automate just to survive. In this race, standing still is a death sentence.
And this race to the bottom, well, it leads to the first big twist in the story. Because the immediate danger isn't what we all think. It's not the robot apocalypse where everyone loses their job overnight. It's something much quieter.
We tend to imagine this as a big on-off switch, right? One day you have a job, the next day, poof, it's gone. But the reality is way more subtle, and honestly, a lot more insidious. We're not really heading for mass unemployment, not yet anyway. We're walking right into an age of mass insecurity.
And what does that actually look like? Well, it's the hollowing out of stable, middle-class careers. They get replaced by gig work, freelance projects, short-term contracts. People are still working, yeah, but for less money and with way more uncertainty hanging over their heads. And here's the key. They can still buy things, just barely, which is just enough to keep the old system limping along on life support.
So if the system is fraying at the edges but hasn't completely snapped yet, where's this road taking us? As it turns out, there are really only 4 possible outcomes. Yeah, this whole contradiction has to resolve itself somehow. One path is a kind of digital neo-feudalism, where a tiny group of people own the AI and the rest of us basically pay rent to exist. Or you could have massive redistribution, like a universal basic income, paid for by huge taxes on AI. Then there's the scary one, a full-on collapse and reset if demand just completely dries up. And of course, the utopian dream, post-scarcity, where AI makes everything so cheap it's almost free. I mean, the stakes could not be higher.
Okay, so when you lay out those 4 possibilities, you have to wonder, why do the people building this technology seem so chill about it? What exactly is their plan? What's their bet?
Well, their logic is actually incredibly simple, and it's straight out of the Silicon Valley playbook. Look, their job is to build the future, to push the tech as far as it can go. And all the messy fallout, the social chaos, the economic upheaval, that's somebody else's problem to solve. That's a job for governments.
And it all boils down to this one incredibly powerful idea. The risk of everything we just talked about, the insecurity, the potential collapse, that risk is socialized. It's spread out across all of us. But the reward, the trillions of dollars in profit, that is very, very private.
So let's bring this all home. Let's pull all these threads together and look at the fundamental, unspoken rule of our society that AI has just completely smashed. Because here's the thing. The crisis isn't really about technology. It's about economics. Our entire system, our whole society, is built on one core assumption. You have to work to earn the right to consume. But AI makes human work optional for production. And that's the conflict. Production no longer requires us, but our system says we require it to survive. And that pushes us into some really deep philosophical territory that now has very real, very urgent economic consequences. I mean, if our jobs aren't what give our lives structure and meaning anymore, then what does? And the scary part is, as a society, we have absolutely no answer for that yet.
So that's the real takeaway here. The old social contract, work hard, get paid, be a consumer, it's broken. And history tells us that when these fundamental contracts break, they always get rewritten. Sometimes that's peaceful, sometimes it isn't. That rewrite is happening as we speak. The only question left is what will the new terms be, and who gets to write them?